G'day punters, welcome to Victims of the Punt. We're talking Rose Hill, the Group 1 Golden Rose meeting. Mark Shean, Mark Rhoden and Rob Scurry here to help me review this meeting. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself. How did the return to Rose Hill present to you?
Well, I think Mark predicted it that it'd be on pace, and it certainly seemed that way. We had very few winners coming from off the speed. I think Yonkers was one of them, which was a bit of a surprise, although had some support at longer odds. But most of the winners were right up on the speed all the way. I think the two staying races were the other two races, so it was a big advantage to be up on speed and inside, I'd say, for most of the day.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, how did you find the day overall?
Frustrating, a few near misses. Yeah, lane one was best, lane two was second best, I'd say. But it wasn't, you got Yonkers winning first up down the middle. It wasn't impossible, and there were some quite good runs from back and down the middle in the beaten brigade as well.
And Rob Scurry, welcome to you. Home affairs, there it was.
I'm right, aren't I? I'm right enough. It was a good day. Good to get back to Rose Hill. It was good three. So upgraded.
Yep.
I think the tail was in that highway with that thing getting up the inside was a bit of a giveaway that lane one, as Mark Rhoden was saying, was the place to be. Yes, some really good horses. Some horses I think that need to be sacked forever or retired as well.
Okay, well, we'll get to those horses to not follow as it might be, but we'll start with race 5, which was the Heritage over 1100. Home Affairs with Nash on board managed to lead and control this race at an even tempo, 1.9 lengths fast to the 600, and he's too good for Pelelli. Rob, I'll start with yourself. You've been on Home Affairs as a type for quite a while now. Just run us through, for those who might not have seen him, what he looks like.
He's bigger than average. I remember Lizzie saying he's just on Saturday that his sort of front and his back is sort of evened out. He did have quite of a pronounced front quarter for a sprinter, which is not always the way. A lot of them are jacked up at the arse. But yeah, he's got a great temperament. That's what I like about him. So many of Chris Waller's horses do, but a fantastic temperament, and just bigger than average. There's nothing to not like about him. The price we got here was amazing. Backed early in the week, and then 780 in the end. Natural Willer on was a clue, but on review, win and whinge. I didn't have enough on it because it was never losing after it pinged the gates. And where was Playley going to get to? It was going to get to hell, and that's what happened. And the other horse is pretty good too. But he's carried a good weight and beaten them. The Kiwi horse looks interesting. He seemed a bit fresh in the yard. The Sword of Secrecy or whatever it's called, number 1. He might be worth following. But the winner. Who knows if you want to go to the Everest? I remember when we got that tip about him on the question show. The guy said he needs good ground. Well, it better not rain. It's going to rain this week. I can't see Randwick being good for a while because it just doesn't. We'll need a heat wave for it to get good.
Yep. Mark Shean, how did you see the performance?
Yeah, look, I was worried going into this race with the map with some of these horses drawn wide, but when Sort of State and Mautai both were a little bit tardy out of the gates, I think Nash seized that opportunity and drove forward, and once he found the fence, as Rob said, the race was over basically at that point. I think he got to 350 in the run there at one stage, which looked to be cool to Mo, really. Pelelli went back to second last. I think they had a plan there to go back. Just looked the way he came out of the gates, he looked a bit negative on him. I think he ran a terrific race, Pelelli, but just the way the track was playing, it was certainly Nash seizing that opportunity and getting Home Affairs home. King of Sparta was good again. I thought Very Fine Red was good. She might be looking for a little bit further now. Just got held up at the top of the straight and probably should have finished a touch closer.
Yeah, and Mark Rhoden, Natural Willers started the season particularly well. He's 14 from 57. It's also 14 of his last 50, but he just looks like tuned up to do some real damage here in the Spring Carnival.
Certainly does, and he loves going forward, which everyone should, but I bet he's glad they don't, because it makes his life a bit easier. Look, straight after the race here, I thought, when the caller said, Everest and all this sort of stuff, I thought, this has been flattered. It's, a couple of others have missed the start. It's found the fence sort of fallen into his lap. But doing the figures, it's gone super. It has run great time. Admittedly, the track pattern was in his favour and he was able to get across. But, Yeah, he's just come back a much better horse. He's really come on as a 3-year-old. He's run fast overall time. He can put himself in the race, high cruising speed, just perfect foolproof horse. He'll be in anything they run him in, up to the Everest, if with that caveat that it's dry. But he's stamped himself as, I think this is, along with Paul Ellie's win at Randwick, this is the best 3-year-old performance of the season so far. Paul Ellie lost no admirers. He'll be better at Randwick and/or when he draws lower, so he can be closer in the run. But I think Randwick is probably his track. Third horse, Tri-State, they ran out of gas at the end, but it's flying. It was a little bit outclassed here, but it's in its right grade. The sprinter with a high cruising speed, and will get it done. This camp don't mind running them out of their class, I must say, but it went as well as it could. Got to forgive the New Zealander, missed the start and then was 3 wide, did drop out, but certainly one more chance for him. Eye catcher from a very fine red, probably another one who's probably just a little bit out of its class, but certainly not disgraced.
Okay.
I thought.
Well, let's have a look at the Shannon, which is the Group 2 over 1,500 metres. You mentioned Yonkers before. Well, it's run over the top of Discharged here. In terms of the speed, pretty much bang on even to the 600, 0.4 lengths fast for the class on Punting Form's data. Rob Scurry, there was a couple of old favourites here for you.
Yeah, I'm getting a bit sick of a lot of these, actually. And Yonkers, I would love to have seen it on track. But look, Discharges run well, Reloaders run well. Love Tap, I don't know if he's much good. He should have gone a bit better than that. But I ended up being on Best of Days here. I just thought the firm track, and I thought he was kind of well weighted here, and he didn't give a yelp, so I think he should be retired. Not like Sheik needs the cash. Imaging, very disappointing as well. He hasn't done much for a long time now. Chat might have had enough. What do we do with Archidemus? Is that just maybe a wet tracker? But yeah, forgettable. Like a lot of these older horses, I think, they've had enough.
Mark Shean, are you giving excuses to him?
No, I think this is a bit like the race that Chat won at Kembla. It was a bit of a head scratcher, and probably just forget about it. When you've got Yonkers coming down the outside to win and Reloaded unlucky, you've got a problem. So I don't really want to follow any of these going forward. Love Tap disappointing. Imaging, well, I was on it at the good odds, but when he got into the clear at the top of the straight, there was nothing there. Maybe he just needs a bit of give in the track, but that was a very disappointing run.
And Mark Rhoden, we just talked about Nash Rawiller. Well, this man, G. Schofield, he's only had 9 rides for the season. He's had 2 firsts and 2 seconds, which is probably all he probably rode in the last 12 months previous to that.
Yes, seems like he's got a point to prove. He's going okay. I couldn't believe this one. I backed this horse. The last prep or the prep before, first up in an 88 or something, and couldn't run the first half dozen. And here it is winning a listed or group race first up here at an seemingly unsuitable trip. Okay. What do we say? I think Discharged has gone okay. It had all favours, but it was just a run short. I think it peaked third up last time, so it's ticking over okay. It's probably a race for it, and great racing style just puts itself in the race. Love Tap, every possible. Weight drop did it, no. Didn't help it. Didn't go any faster with 6 kilos less. Imaging, look, I backed it too, and gee, it was very, very ordinary. But it's certain. I think we've got to say it needs soft to have any chance. He was getting his head up. He seemed to be feeling his legs, I thought. Didn't stretch out at all, but he might be gone as well. I'm not going to be hurrying to back him, but if he struck a heavy 8 or something, I might, and he was odds, that might get me in. But yeah, geez, he was playing. And not a great deal to say about the rest.
Okay, race 7 was the Golden Pendant, Group 2 for the fillies and mares over 1,400. Very slow tempo here, 6.5 lengths slow to the 600, and no surprise, Vangelic, the leader, managed to dictate and get the job done. Rob, I'll start with you. Did you have any interest here in race 7?
I overthought it and just I backed 3 actually. I heard that Entrever was in season, which was probably the reason for the drift. So, I had to have something on Ice Bath or I'd go mad. It's run another very credible race. Forbidden Love is not my horse. I can't catch it. It's only ever beaten me. But it seemed to parade well for a horse that can get hot and sweaty. It seemed to be walking around really well. And old girl, Madame Rouge, I think I backed it in this race last year as well. Again, she's probably one for the breeding barn. Maybe doesn't seem to have that zest for racing. Winner had all favourites, Vangelic, but yeah, just never been one of mine. Nimmerly's run well. Look, good, decent bunch of mares, but yeah, maybe I'm overestimating Ice Bath. She might suck me in again because I think it's one of the best runs in this race.
Okay, Mark Shean, are you following anything out of this race?
Yeah, look, I thought Ice Bath was terrific here against the pattern of the day. And, when she gets to Randwick, maybe in the Epsom next week, that track will be a little bit shifty, so that should certainly suit her. So she's on track. On Treviere was a terrific run considering the circumstances. First time she's backed up in 2 weeks in season, went back to last down the middle of the track, so certainly had plenty of things against it, but still ran well. But I think Ice Bath certainly, considering she was pocketed on the fence in a slowly run race, to finish that close was a terrific run.
Okay, and Mark Rhoden?
Yeah, I was on Nimmerly here. Certainly looked like it might go very close at the top of the straight, but couldn't get past Vangelic, who had... they both had all favours on pace, really. Vangelic just had the advantage of the rail, which may have been the difference, but I'm looking at the figures this morning, I'm a bit disappointed in Nimmerly. I think entitled to get there if she was at her best. Maybe she was a run short. That's the only thing I can think of, but that was a little bit disappointing. How can you take anything away from Vangelic, a horse that puts itself in the race like it's stablemate in the race after? Deserved winner, with great runs to the two mentioned on Treviere and Ice Bath. Total forgive on Treviere and Ice Bath going really well. Set to peak in something and cops that wet track. Yes.
Okay. Look, the main event was the Golden Rose, Group 1 over 1400 for the 3-year-olds, and they've gone very fast here for the class to the 600, 5.5 lengths fast to the 600. In the Congo was the leader, managed to hold on over the favourite Animo. It's posted the equal best figure of the day with Home Affairs in the Congo, so you can't take anything away from the winner. Rob, run us through the 3-year-olds.
Look, my mind went back to the sires when Animo was about $2, and I thought, look, this looks a bit tougher than that, so I can't unload it on him. And I thought in the Congo with the barriers, and I remember Mark Shean saying, this horse will get 1400, this horse will get 1400. So I ended up having a place bet on him myself, and I felt a bit silly after the race. Artorias has flashed home again. But yeah, look, Animo, I'm going to say he's more of a middle distance horse, a very classy horse, but I think he goes on to the Caulfield Guineas and wins it. I was in the Congo at that bloody first Saturday meeting when it got called the winner and lost. I don't know what to do with him. Coast Watch has run very well. Chris can keep him going. A race, they'll probably go to the Caulfield Guineas as well. Surely. Yeah, Star Tonto seems to have run well, but yeah, for me, the merits in Animo, I thought he's run enormous here, and one more bound he wins, in my opinion.
Okay, Mark Shean, your thoughts?
Look, I thought the winner went terrific here. He's done all the work. He had to fend off Remark early, who made a real pest of himself for the first 400 metres, and I thought he went pretty hard down the side and still had a kick and held them off. Whether he gets to 1,600 metres is another matter, but in a different tempo race, he might be able to go a lot slower and ping. He's a solid, tough horse, his horse, and he did a good job to win there. A lot of people were blaming the track that the reason Animo was beaten, but I've got to say I thought he had his chance, even though there was track bias. The tempo of the race certainly would suggest that the leader had to stop and Animo would be the running over him, but all favours, or all honours, I should say, to win the Congo.
Yeah, Mark Rhoden, this tempo certainly has sorted out a few of these horses in this field.
Sure has. I tend to agree. I thought Animo looked like he was going to get there and just didn't. A terrific run in the Congo. Go Waterhouse again. It did. I mean, the market sort of did half tune into him in the last hour or so of betting the way the track was playing, and he didn't let his supporters down. It was a great effort. Animo's going fine, and if he still has improvement to come, he'll be right up to his ears in anything. Coast Watch, how about the Bondi for him? That'd be a race for him, wouldn't it? $1 million for the second string. That'd be very nice. and great runner Arturius. And yes, you're quite right. The pace did really get rid of a few. Star Tonte sort of ran on okay from the back, but I think she's only gone to. She's just done what she does. Just maybe coped with the pressure a little bit better than most. But yeah, love to see it. Good horses running fast times.
Well, do you think Artorius can turn the tables on Animo, say in the Caulfield Guineas?
I don't like his racing style. That's the. Yeah. I think Animo does have the capability to settle a bit closer. It looks like Artorius might be pretty one-dimensional. I know he won the Blue Diamond there, but depends how the track's playing on the day. It was a very good run.
Yeah, but he's a bad beginner, isn't he? Bad beginner gets bad pattern.
Yeah, they're just hard to back, those horses, especially at shorter odds.
And you mentioned Waterhouse and Bott. Current season, 149 starts, 37 winners. That's 24.8% and profitable. Last 50, 15 winners at 30% win percentage and 91.9% return on interest. Going well.
Put him in the race.
Just back the best, and the best shall produce, maybe. Well, race 9, speaking of which, the Gloaming. 1,800 metres, a lot of talk about whether Profondo was the best horse, but again, very slow tempo, 4.4 lengths slow to the 600, and Head of States run over the top. But there was, I think, a lot of conversation about the riding, certainly post-race, but we'll get into that. Rob, what did you think here?
Look, I thought Profondo was. I didn't overthink this. I thought Profondo was a good thing. I thought its run against the bias first up was great. He does get a little bit toey in the yard, which is not what you always want to see. But he's kind of a proud horse. I saw this Benno as well. I like the look of him. But these two have cleared out. Look, you run the race 10 times, and I think Profondo beats Head of State 9. Really. It's hindsight's a great thing. The horse has shied at the whip and run into the fence. But if you look past the post, Profondo's kind of gone past him again. And I think up in distance will suit it. I'd love to see a jockey change on it to back it. Robbie Dolan versus James McDonald. At the last 50 was hard to cop, but not much behind the first two. The third horse is definitely could run a decent race up in distance, being by a staying sire and reliable man. But the Good Colt's a good one. Deep in, the $2 million horse is worth following, and I think it's got the spring champions at its mercy.
Okay, Mark Shean.
Well, look, I've got a massive rap on this Profondo, but he does a lot wrong. This was only his second start. He pulled his head off in the run, and then when he went for him in a group race, well, you're going to go for the whip, aren't you? What's Robbie Dolan going to do? Things looming on the outside, you give him a crack with the whip and it ducks into the inside fence. I don't know what else he was going to do. If he didn't pull the whip, you'd be blowing up saying, what's he doing? So,
yes, that's true. But, yeah.
I don't know if you could blame the jockey. The horse is still very immature, very green. And he just, he fell apart a little bit under pressure when the other horse came at him. I think they're both, they look to have a mortgage on the Champion Stakes going that way. If Profondo cures his manners in that time, he's probably the horse to beat. If he doesn't, the other horse just might be the better tradesman on the day. As I said, I think Profondo is certainly the best horse in the race, but he's still got to iron out a lot of kinks.
Yep. Mark Rhoden, it can be a bit tricky pulling these races apart when they're slowly run, but what are your figures saying with Profondo?
I'm saying they've gone well. Yeah, it was a slow race, but to run the sections, the last 4 and 2s they have over a bit of ground as new 3-year-olds they're pretty classy, I think, in their division. I was, in conversations I had on Saturday evening, I was a bit critical of the ride, but looking at it this morning, the horse has actually gone, despite doing things wrong really well. The winner's just put in a really good performance to beat him, with him, really top jockey on board as well. I do think, though, I would like to see a jockey change. I'd love to see a Nashville Willer or someone on it. I think because he does have these tricks, I'd like a stronger, more experienced rider than Dolan. It might have cost him half a length, and I think this was probably instructions, not Dolan's decision himself, but it jumped really well. Nothing wanted to lead. Go and take it. Imagine National had ever said, right, that's mine, like he did on, totally different setup at Home Affairs. Right, no one wants it, it's me. And he would have kept it going hands and heels and I reckon would have won. But I think I suspect that the trainer wouldn't want it ridden that way, which for whatever reason. But I think they've both gone really well. Absolute gap to the rest. Benno, I kind of ridiculed off the Nowra form in the previous show, but it's got something. So is Allegron. It did well after a 3-wide trip, but the first two look a class above.
Okay, and then the last on the card was benchmark 88 over 1400. Ellsberg was supported. It went forward, and it won with Nash. Even tempo, 0.2 lengths slow to the 600s. Pretty much bang on. Rob, how'd you see the last?
I saw it well, but I didn't bet. I like Knight of Power as a horse. I have done for a long time. It's run really well. I thought Academy could be, go pretty close with the barrier one and, not all that much pace. And, Ellsberg is just kryptonite to me. I've had that many bad experiences with it. I just can't get on the right side of it. So I guess superstition stopped me backing in, and it got short too. Behind it, when Kiku jumped well, Mark Shean's words were ringing in my ears, this horse doesn't jump, and it jumped. So I was tappity tap, tap, tap when it did, and I thought it was a bit disappointing. But yeah, maybe Knight of Power was a bit stiff. Like if it sort of come around them and got home pretty well. So yeah, I'll be interested to hear what Mark Shean and Mark Rhoden think of this.
Take it away.
Yeah, I'm disagreeing with Kiku. I think it got onto the back of a horse that shuffled it back, and he went for a couple of runs at the top of the straight there. Stewards inquired into the ride. I'd be very forgiving of that run. Bigger fish to fry, I think, for Kiku. Well, the change of tactics, we were talking about this on Friday, and the stewards then qualified that they were going to try and ride this horse close to the lead, but with cover, Ellsberg. And I think that's why he was off the map at the finish, and Nash put him in the right spot and lifted him late. He looked like he was labouring a little bit. Nash put a couple around the tail. Maybe Nash would make the difference on Profondo, I'm not sure, but he certainly made some difference to Ellsberg.
Yes, indeed. And Mark Rhoden, I'm not sure if it coincided with that confirmation from the stewards, but seemingly the price went from about $4 and then gradually trickled down, and obviously to that starting price of about $3 or so.
Yeah, it just got shorter and shorter, and I unfortunately let it go. I think he would have been better off leading. It hasn't been overly impressive here, and has probably put in better performances this in the past, but they seem just intent on not leading in him. They want him to settle handy with cover, and okay, it's up to them. But I think this horse's best runs have been leading, but there you go. Knight of Power going very well, and I agree, Kiku, I thought you would probably forgive that run. And I also would like to see her on a softer track than this.
Okay. That brings us to the end. I'll get a horse or two to follow from each of you. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Yeah, I thought Kiku was one of them, and the other one, I've written down here, I'll find it in a second, Ice Bath, the other one. So I thought they were both very good runs on the day.
All right. Mark Rhoden?
Yeah, the Entrivier and Ice Bath out of the mares race, and yeah, I just love what Home Affairs did on the clock.
Yep, and Rob, I'm sure you'll be following up with Home Affairs. Mind you, you're probably already on at the bigger price, aren't you?
Yeah, I went looking for that ticket for the Everest, and I couldn't find it.
Oh.
So yeah, anyway, I feel a bit of a goose, but look, I don't care. Look, I think it's odds on that Randwick won't suit it, so yeah. It doesn't really worry me. Look, I keep following the fun fact. I thought its run was enormous. It got speared off the track in the start, going around the first bend, and I'm not even sure if 2400's totally its go, but I think, if that backs up in the Metrop next week, but probably we're going to get 10 mils of rain this week in Sydney, so, we're going to get a soft track on Saturday. The other one, obviously, Home Affairs, I've got to keep backing Ice Bath. I've been backing this horse since the Golden Eagle last year, pretty much every start, so it's going to happen. And Profondo, I think that's I'd love to see it settle a bit more and possibly a jockey change. That's about it.
Okay. The week ahead, we've got Kensington Wednesday, Wyong Thursday, Newcastle Saturday, along with the Epsom, the Metrop, the Flight Stakes. It's a big week. Mark Shean?
Yeah, no, it's always a great meeting, this meeting. First day of the long weekend, and a bit happening when they've got no grand final in Sydney, but that's normally the 3 days in a row. In the old days, you go to the Metrop on the Monday, but that's in the past.
I was going to say, is there any buzz around, New South Wales at the moment with regards to the grand final? Obviously, your team, the Bunnies, have made it.
Yeah, I live in the South area, so a lot of flags flying around. Rob's in the area as well, so
yeah, people painting their garages. I was on a bit of a bike ride, and there's some bunnies on garages. It's happening. Yeah, people are excited.
All right. Well, I'm sure the week will just build. Can't wait to preview this meeting. We'll get your thoughts on the grand final as well when we get to Friday. Until then, enjoy the week.